Mayor Jacobs,
I am here.
Committeeman Hickey,
Here.
Mr. Walter,
Here.
Ms. Urbana,
Here.
Mr. Leonard,
Here.
Mr. Rodelius,
Here.
Mr. DeGiovanni,
Here.
Mr. Hurst,
Here.
Mr. Wild,
Here.
Chairwoman Getchard.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Bedminster Township Land Use Board was filed with the Township Clerk, sent to the Burnersville News and the Courier News, and to all subscribers, and posted at the Township Municipal Building, 1 Miller Lane, Bedminster, New Jersey, on January 12th, 2024.
Please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll open it up to the public. If anybody has anything that they'd like to talk about that's not on the agenda. Who we got online now?
We have one person online, so if the person online would like to speak, you can unmute yourself. You can raise your hand. If you're on your phone, you can do *9 and let us know that you have a comment.
No?
No.
All right,
We did.
seeing no one, I'll close it to the public. We have some correspondence in our mail here, I believe. A letter from Frank Carino requesting postponement of 20 Route 206 till November. Surprise. And also the letter from Robin Ray adopting the ordinance 2024-15. We have some resolutions that we need to approve. We'll start with 202-206, resolution 24-2012.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Right, just give me 1 second. Well. Which one? That's one. That's not his. Mr. Walter,
Aye.
Ms. Urbana,
Janine, I don't have this resolution in front of me. Did we adopt it? Is it last? I mean, when did we?
Which property was it? It was.
When did we have the hearing? Right.
It was May, you
was
were
this
here.
White-
Someone
the
was the
Whitewood
only one who was
property?
not here. So that one was, I'm sorry, June
Yeah, this
6th.
is the white.
Okay.
White group.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Right, yeah.
Got it. Yes.
Yes, that's correct, I think. Let's just.
Yeah, I actually only Stephen was the only one who was absent that day. So I believe you are eligible. Okay.
Okay, start over.
Do over.
So for the resolution for Route 202-206, Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey.
Aye.
Mr. Walter.
Aye.
Ms. Urbana.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius.
Aye.
Mr. DeGiovanni.
Aye.
Mr. First, you were not here, and Mr. Wild, I don't believe you had started as of June 6th, so, no, and Chairwoman got shot,
Yes.
so.
These applicant names are getting very confusing.
They
I didn't know there could be so many on 202, 206, but
They certainly
someone
are.
should have a rule against creating LLCs that use those routes.
Yeah.
And you're not the only town.
Well, that's good to hear, but we ought to come up with a little more creative names for these properties. Okay, so this resolution has approved. We have our second one, 2475 Lamington Road. It's resolution 24-13.
Now, on this one, Tim and Carol, did not vote yes, so I do not include you. Vinny and Brian were not here yet, and Larry and Colin, we did not participate. So I start with Mrs. Urbana,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard,
Slow up.
Mr. Rodelius,
Aye.
Mr. DeGiovanni.
I have a question. it's, what address was it?
2475 Lamington Road.
Did not Paul say he wanted us to hold the resolution on that property until he had?
I believe
agreed?
he was satisfied.
Yeah, now he's satisfied. So
Okay, I think that's an important point.
It is, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been on the
If-
agenda if Paul had not said.
Do we need a motion and a second to start the voting? For the resolution?
yes. I think you need a motion in a second.
Yeah, I guess we did. We didn't have a motion. Okay.
And this is a D variance, so it's not the mayor and Colin.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the resolution to start. with.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Mr. Urbana,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Mr. GGB,
Aye.
Mr. First,
Aye.
Chairwoman, no, you read, I voted no.
I'm not,
So, yeah, thank you.
okay. Now we have resolution for Lang and a resolution 24014.
This is everybody, or Colin and the mayor are eligible for this one.
This one, we have no Tim, Anna, or Brian, they were absent for that one. But
Except Tim and I watched the,
So I'll make the motion.
George?
I didn't watch the line.
That was
Lang and
part-
Faith.
actually, that was part of the.
was the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah, I just see that.
It was very memorable. A fence post, couple of fence posts and a gate.
And post in a generator.
Let's skip.
Okay, we
Well, let's
need,
start with the motion.
yeah, start with the motion.
So
I'll
I'll
move
make the
to,
motion. Second.
Mayor Jacob. Mayor Jacob.
I did see it.
Mr. Walter. Mr. Urbana.
aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Mr. DeGivini.
Aye.
Mr. First,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Gotcha.
Aye. Okay. Our resolutions. Okay. Let's see where we're going, yeah. We've already talked about the fact that 20 Route 206 is postponed until November. So we can start with our first hearing, and we're going to start with Marino. We're skipping around a little bit from the agenda.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. You want to start or you have?
No, I can go ahead and start. It's my first one, so I didn't.
Oh, Mr. Marino, please raise your right hand.
Oh.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
And please state your name and address.
Sure. It's Michael Marino and I live at 8 Drummers Log Lane in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Thank you, Michael, and please go ahead and describe what you're requesting.
Sure. So I'd like to rebuild and expand my deck within the bounds of what my HOA allows, which is basically not extending beyond either rear boundary of the house. So it needs to be flush with the house. And I have a very irregularly shaped lot. So by bringing the deck over, the Bernards Township municipal boundary kind of cuts at an angle through my backyard. So if you're facing my backyard, it's shallower on the only side I can expand it and gets deeper as you go on the other side. And my house is kind of snuggled up against the corner of the lot. So it's really not possible to extend the deck out to the width that the HOA allows without the back post being, I think, 23.5 feet instead of 30 from the boundary. So I'm seeking a variance to build in my desired footprint.
Do you have any witnesses or are you
No, just me.
just on your own?
Yep.
Okay, I'll open it to the board. The board has questions. Mr. Marino?
Mr. Marino, I think the current deck is planned to be two units. The new deck is 30 by 16.
Yeah.
What's the existing deck? Do you have any idea?
I'd have to bring up my little paperwork. I think I submitted that with a bunch of stuff, so.
I apologize. I just didn't see it in the paper.
No, it's okay.
It's like the increase is 152 square feet, so.
Any questions?
Basically, you have a map.
Yeah.
And
And a drawing on the back.
then you could, write in words. From your own map. Where your existing deck is, and then which side of your existing deck you want to extend, like, or maybe building a whole new deck.
Yeah, I'm tearing it down and doing a composite.
So like this, in words, just try to describe
Yeah,
how your existing deck is and.
I've got my map up right now, so I think that'll help. So the existing deck, if you're facing the back of the house, is pretty much like square in the middle of it. So, on one side, it goes almost all the way to the edge of the house to allow the stairs to come down for a landing without breaching that side of the deck. So the only way for me to materially expand it is to, if you're facing a deck from inside the house, expand it to the left to meet, the outside of the building. And so from this map, I don't have exact measurements of the old deck, but it looks to be like an 8 or 9 foot extension to meet the other side of the house.
Guess you don't know the answer to this, but maybe you do. Is the existing deck closer to the property line than 30 feet?
I didn't build it, so I'm not sure.
Looks like it is from the scale.
I'd hope not, but it might be.
That's okay, I mean, it is what it is, and then. Can you describe what's behind your house?
Yeah,
On the lot in Vernon?
absolutely. So the way that it works is, I back up to a wooded area that's in between, both properties. That at the closest point to the deck is probably 15 feet of wood cover. And then there's a very steep grade decline, to the neighboring properties. So between the grade decline and the trees, it probably wouldn't have much of a material impact on, the other adjoining property.
And can you even see a house from your house?
You can with varying degrees of clarity depending on the season. So there is evergreen and deciduous mix back there. So you can kind of see pieces of it through the trees, but it's not like a clear shot.
You know. Say that 15 feet of trees, is that on your property or is that on the?
So my property goes, I think, just a foot or so into the wood lines. So the majority of the trees are on the adjoining property. You got it.
Frank, I think you have something.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is a replacement job. The relatively minor extension across the back of the house is a reasonable accommodation here. I was in the backyard of the property, and because of the way these lots are irregularly shaped, the house on either side of it, it's not like having the house next door and their deck right next to you. It's way over there on one side, and it's probably 75 feet away. There's no neighbor impacts from this really. Or if there were, it's the same impact they have from having a deck there now. These a couple more feet are not going to make any difference at all.
That side isn't moving, right, Frank? That's, he's expanding in the other side.
He's going the other direction, right?
Your property is entirely within Bedminster Township?
It is, yep.
Okay, but you didn't need to go to Berners for anything.
Well, I had to send out a bunch of certified letters.
Oh, yeah.
From their 200
Yeah.
foot list, so I got
Yeah,
my green receipts here. so.
Yeah.
Got that, yeah.
right.
Anyone else from the board?
So basically, this is just increasing impervious surface by 252 square feet.
Yeah, super minimal, and I think that brings me to like 20%, which is, pretty low on the scale.
I think I can open up to the public. Anyone have anything they'd like to ask this witness?
There's no longer anyone online.
Okay, take a thought, huh? We were too boring.
That's a good thing.
Okay, we can then close it to the public. And anybody? No? Everybody satisfied? Okay, Tom.
Is the deck a raised deck at first floor level?
Yes, it is. Mhm.
So it'll be on
On posts.
Yeah, it's gonna be on molecular piers, I guess is the new, it's basically a big drill bit that they drill down into the ground instead of having to pour footers. So yeah, it'll be raised.
The board, the motion to approve the T2 variance for the deck to be located as proposed by the applicant. The same conditions would apply, and that we can comply with the review reports that's all in signs. And the effective this evening for the applicant makes the effective immediately, provided all of the requirements are met. Is there such a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Committeeman Higgy.
Aye.
Mr. Walter.
Aye.
Ms. Urbana.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Labutus.
Aye.
Mr. DeGenini.
Aye.
Mr. First.
Aye.
Chairwoman Gotcha.
Aye.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
All right.
When's your
Record
birthday?
time.
Janine, do you need?
Yes, please.
Okay, yep. There you go. And thanks again for that.
All right, well, here our next application. It's Rich and Jacqueline
Oh.
Treza.
8 minutes.
One thing, we
Yeah.
did not do minutes.
Oh, we didn't do minutes, we missed it.
We did, I just noticed that we skipped over that.
We skipped right over it. Okay, well, we'll come back to it, huh? Or you want to do it now? Want to do it now before we do the next step?
It is up to you. I am also trying to help them while not understanding that the code that we have from the Zoom meeting is the same July 11th, so. I'm going to try to do that.
All right, so you want me to do the minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll do the minutes. Anyone have a motion for minutes from July 11th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, who was here July 11th? Anyone opposed?
Brian would abstain. He was the only one who
Okay.
wasn't here. You guys watched the video. You guys were here for the beginning, Lang Fahey, so. You can have, aye.
You can have to say yes.
Sure.
That's very.
Regardless, the minutes pass. Okay. All right, so let's continue with our applicant.
This, sir, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? And please state your name and address.
5 Latson Street, Charleston, South Carolina.
Thank you. You please go ahead, gentlemen.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, board professionals, Frederick Zelli, Post Pollock, on behalf of the applicants, Richard and Jacqueline Treza. This is regarding 400 Larger Cross Road. It's block 40, lot 2.01, located in your R10 zone. We are here for one variance related to the proposed creation of a riding ring, equestrian riding ring on the property. This property is in excess of 26 acres, it's a large tract. But the ring will present coverage of 6.15%, whereas at the time of application, it was permitted to have 5% with the new ordinance. I disagree with Mr. Farrar that the new ordinance doesn't apply. But either way, we're in excess. The new ordinance would allow 5.7 on this property. So we're seeking 6.15. Mr. Mattson, our engineer, will testify later and explain that we are not dealing with impervious coverage necessarily, but your ordinance does not distinguish between impervious coverage and any other kind of coverage. So we are here for the single variance, as I've indicated. Just two witnesses this evening, Rich Treza and Mr. Mattson. Unless there's, I will indicate, I've taken the photographs myself. They were accurate at the time I took them, but I'm going to have Mr. Treza take you through them and tell you what exactly they depict. We'll do that in a moment. There's no questions for me, and I'll start with Mr. Treza.
Please, go ahead.
Mr. Treza, for starters, you've indicated a out-of-state address. Where do you live when you're here in Bedminster?
400 Larger Cross Road in Bedminster.
Okay.
Split our time.
Split your time? Kind of how? Winter, summer, Throughout the year, how does it work?
Throughout the year, we're back and forth, a little more in the summer than
And with whom do you reside?
my wife and in Charleston, and our two daughters are residents of Bedminster.
Okay, and one of them is here and your wife is here? So let's start with what structures are on the property presently.
There's the home, there's a 15 stall barn with an apartment above it, and there are 2 run-in sheds.
And the, so the apartment, is that actually in use at this point or
It's
what's
being
it for?
renovated.
And what's the, what is that used for, just for the board's knowledge?
My daughter will live there once it's renovated.
Okay. We've submitted 10 photographs to the board. I believe it's 10, might be more. Let's just take it through. If you would, just quickly, each take as the orders presented, they're all stapled, so everybody has the same order. And just tell us what it depicts and confirm that that's still the way it looks today.
Sure. First one is larger cross road with just the apron kind of over our driveway going in. See the same thing from the other direction.
And Larger Cross Road and your driveway are both unpaved, correct?
Yes, everything's gravel. This is one of the top fields. It depicts the house on the left and the barn, the barn being renovated on the right. Driveway down to the front of the home.
Let's slow down a little bit and maybe you want to group them together as one, Fred, or do you want to?
It's one packet, but they were submitted with the application.
Oh, they were submitted with the
Yeah.
application, so. Okay, so we're going through them, let's think. Do you have numbers on them and that?
I don't, although we could do it more quick. We could
Yeah,
do it
why don't you at least number that set?
So let's do this. So we just testified 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna give you a pen. And as you go, you can actually number. 1,
So
2.
they won't have to be exhibits, but we will have you give that to the board secretary. But they won't have to be exhibits because they were submitted with the application.
That's this one.
Yeah.
The next one.
So moving to the next one, we call number 5.
Excuse me, Mr. Trezor, can you hold up those pictures so that we know which picture you're speaking about?
Sure.
Start,
Sorry.
again, please.
I'm gonna start again.
Yeah,
Just go over
sure.
it again.
Yeah, thank you.
Your packages should be the exact same order because they were stapled.
We don't have the numbers.
No, we don't have them.
We have a couple.
Okay, let's change.
They were emailed.
Oh, they were.
They-
I have a copy, but let's change.
Website, but I.
Let's change the way we're doing it. Let's just,
Okay.
it's a little, they are part of your application, so they're really part of your record already. However, in order to describe them, if we could put them on the screen, it'd be great, but if we can't, let's still mark them at 1, 2, 3, 4 through 10. Put an A in front of the number, they'll be an exhibit now. And then if you at least could hold them up when you describe it, that would be helpful,
So each time you describe one, just hold it up.
right?
No worries.
And then we'll give it to the board and they can look at,
Pass it down.
pass it down and look at it.
So many copies of what I do have.
I'm not worried about it. It's all pretty straightforward. I think we'll be able to get through this pretty quickly, so
Okay, I'll start over from the beginning.
Yes,
that'd be fine.
yeah,
Everyone see that? Call out
Yes.
number 1.
okay,
That's Larger Cross Road going down, and to the left is our beginning the apron of our driveway.
okay,
Number 2. That's Larger Cross in the other direction. Again, our driveway. Looking from the different direction on Larger Cross.
okay,
Number 3 would be one of the top fields. And in the background is the main residence, and to the right is a copy or a picture of the barn being renovated. Number 4 is our driveway coming down the property toward the main house. Number 5 is a picture of the barn being renovated. It's still under renovation. It's getting closer, but it's still under renovation. Call this one number 6. This is fields to the left of the driveway.
Left as you're coming in from
As
the
you're
road.
coming in down towards the home, this is the left side of the property. This is number 7. Okay, this is coming down the driveway to the house, the right side of the driveway, and the fields on the right side of the driveway.
And that's the area in question.
The lower field will be the area in question.
The one where the barn is in the middle of the picture, so to speak.
Correct.
So that's the fenced field that'll have the riding ring
Yeah.
inside it.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Next picture, number 8, it's just another photo of that same field, a little bit higher resolution, closer up. Number 9 is the, where that red running shed is, that actual the top of that lower field. And then it's showing a bit of the field that's above it. This is 10, this is the driveway, a view of the driveway, leaving the property, away from the house, away from the barn, out to the road. Number 11 is basically the same thing. It's showing a little bit of the bend of the driveway going towards the barn. But it's basically the same thing. What you see long ways is the driveway going out towards Larger Cross, with the home in the barn. Well, there's a little bit of stuff that is that lower field. Adjacent to the barn that we're looking to put a ring.
All of them?
13.
No, the 13.
Different view of the same field. And with a ring. But, yeah. That's it.
Maybe you could start here, give it to the end here and down, so everybody can see it. Janine, you have all 13 of those pictures?
1 second, I can tell you by what I have listed on the.
Hey, you want to continue?
I'm gonna take a copy, it's got, you just said it's like pictures. But I'll let
You can continue.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, obviously, this is an equestrian application, so we're assuming there either are horses or there's going to be horses. What, do we have any now?
There are none on the property now. We will be bringing horses in.
Okay, that's because the barn is under construction. Perfect. And I think you said at the beginning, but how many stalls are there?
15 stalls.
15 stalls, and you'll have 15 horses? Hopefully.
Hopefully, probably not that many to begin with, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Madsen's going to give us the technical details, but just in your own words, what is it that you're proposing?
We're basically looking to take that bottom field and make it a riding ring.
And what's the size of it?
We're looking for 200 by 130.
And what has prompted you to undertake this project?
Well, my daughters ride, so their horses are gonna come in. And then we have our trainer who's gonna bring a couple horses in. And we want to convert the property to Western use.
Now, just to be clear, when you talk about the trainer coming in, this is not going to be made into a training facility of a commercial sense. In other words, bringing members of the public in and that kind of thing. This is just people that your trainer's already involved with. Is that accurate?
It'll be my children, and a few of the clients that the trainer already has with the boarders.
So the horses being trained, the owners being trained are boarders, not non-boarders coming in.
Correct.
Okay. From your understanding, is this proposed size of the riding ring typical? Is it small, large? Where does it fall on the spectrum?
I think it's typical. Originally, we were looking for maybe something slightly bigger, but when we learned about some of the constraints, we cut it down a little bit. So I would say it's typical.
And can you describe to the board what type of activities are going to take place on the ring if it's approved?
We'll put a jumping course in, and just general riding and training.
And when would this take place? What days of the week? What hours of the day?
Generally, it'll be 6 days a week, probably. Mondays probably off, potentially. No nighttime riding, no lights. So just during the daylight hours.
Do you anticipate any kind of a negative impact by this riding ring upon your neighbors?
I don't think so. Our one neighbor to the right of the property is just really far away, acres and tens of acres away. To the right side of our property, there's a large hedgerow in between, so I don't see any issues kind of with that. And from our perspective, we're going to be living there, so we don't want negative impact on ourselves as well as our neighbors.
Have you had a chance to speak with any neighbors, or have any of them said anything after being noticed?
No.
I have nothing further from Mr. Trezza at this time.
Board, does the board have any questions?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
good.
Will this be an income generator for you? I mean, your trainer's gonna be there, he's gonna be bringing people in. Is he gonna be, I guess, paying for this whole, renting them out from you?
We'll have some, yes, the borders there will be some increase.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions just to clarify. So you don't have any plans to put lights?
No lights.
Okay, and this is not a covered. And what kind of surface are we talking about underneath the horse?
The high performance kind of footing. GGT.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit? Is that like a sand or what is that?
It's generally like a felt material that's interspersed with other types of composite. It's not a sand per se.
Okay, so it's more like an artificial surface. It's not a natural surface.
I would say that's right, yeah.
Okay. And have maybe Mr. Madsen will talk about the drainage?
He will,
About-
I would leave that to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine for me, thanks.
Anyone else on the board? No, I guess we can continue. Should I open it up?
Thank you, Mr. Trezza.
Open it up.
Yes,
Minutes of
yeah,
public.
let's do that.
Okay.
Questions at least.
Yeah, we'll open it up to the public if there's any questions for Mr. Trezza.
Mine is just Mr. Henrikford, which is part of the other application, so.
Okay, all right. I don't see anyone.
Thank you.
So then I think we can close it to the public
Thank you.
and we can go
Hang
on with
me.
our next
Go
witness.
back wherever you want to go. Mr. Madsen, you're up,
Mhm.
and you need to be sworn in.
Yes, maybe switch seats with Mr. Trezza.
Or we can
Do
go to
you
the
wanna-
podium.
Or go to the
There's-
podium. Is there a mic,
at the podium.
mic at the podium? Yeah, we need to pick you up on a mic. That's necessary. Yeah, I think so. Can you hear him? Like that?
If he holds.
He has
the
to
mic
hold
up.
it to his face. Okay, so it's a mobile mic.
Got you.
So Mr. Mattson, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And please state your name and address.
Name is James Madison, MADSEN. Employee, Aptar Associates, professional engineer. Address is 13 Vermont Place, Law Hills.
And we'll just confirm for the record that the board recognizes and accepts the qualifications of James Madsen as a professional engineer. Please go ahead.
Mr. Madsen, have you designed the engineering plans that have been presented to the board in this application?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Would you take us through them, but first from an engineering perspective, would you describe the existing property?
Well, it's 1.5 plus acres of the old woodlands. Here we have to figure out if there's a document of the path.
I'm sorry, could you hold the mic up closer? Otherwise, no one, yeah.
Okay.
Is it on?
Go ahead.
And there's a tributary stream that runs through the property. There are some wetlands on the property. Nothing that would be impacted by what we are proposing.
And in fact, to that point, we have submitted a letter from John Peel of PK Environmental indicating absence of wetlands in the area in question, absence of buffer in the area in question for both wetlands and open waters. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, then would you please take us through the proposal?
What we are disposing, as mentioned earlier, some outdoor riding ring. It would be roughly 200 feet by 130 feet. I think just west of the bar. There will be a postal fence surrounding the ring. There's also a proposed collection, stormwater collection trench that runs around the property. That'll catch runoff from the riding ring and divert it to the rear of the property.
Can you take us through how this particular ring will drain?
So it will be crowned down the middle and sloping to the outside areas where the trench will be located.
And does the trench lead to a scouring pad or something along those lines?
Well, it does discharge at the, I think it's the northwest corner into a scour hole. And the scour hole will dissipate the energy of any water going out of these collections. To go over them to the tributary streams.
And that's a natural flow, so to speak, to get down to that stream.
Yes,
And just to confirm, no impact on open waters, no impact on wetlands anticipated.
we are located, the ring will be located about 235 feet from the tributary stream of the closest pond.
And can you just go over with the board the distinction between impervious coverage and other coverage and how it is that we don't have a distinction under this ordinance?
Impervious coverage is typically doesn't allow water to permeate through the water. As this riding ring will allow water to permeate through the riding surface. And then, as I said earlier, drain to the storm drain around the parameter.
And you heard Mr. Trezza testify to the nature of the material that's going to form the surface of the ring. Do you have anything to add to that, or was that a fair assessment of it?
Well, I actually have a different formula for the surface that was shown on the plan. So certainly Mr. Trezza knows more about the surface than I.
If they were to use the material that he described, would that change anything from an engineering or drainage perspective?
No, because you still want to get the water draining off of the surface. So, well, it's easily get out there.
And there's a question that I'll just ask Mr. Trezza because it makes more sense. Waste manure from the horses, how will that be treated?
Going to be taken offsite. In a dumpster, put in a dumpster and taken offsite.
So it will not be allowed to be on the surface and then go down into the stream or anything like that. Correct. Mr. Madison, did you have a chance to go through Mr. Ferrara's report of July 29th?
Yes, I do.
Would you just take us, do you have it in front of you? No, you can use my phone.
I am.
Okay. If you would just take us through highlighting ones that fall within your jurisdiction.
No lighting proposed. We are disturbing approximately 42,000 square feet. And it does require us to get approval from this Somerset Union Conservation District. We are applied for that. If we receive approval of the application. As I said earlier, Mr. Zeldin said John Peel visited the property over the summer together, indicating that there are no wetlands being impacted or any damage to the tributary stream. To the maximum flow and discharge from the curtain drain, from the curtain drain to the shower hole would be about 0.97 cubic feet per second. And that discharging into the shower hole, which disperses it and reduces the flow out of there to about 7 cubic feet per second, which is really not a erosive velocity. And that covers that. All
From an engineering perspective, do you anticipate any kind of detrimental effect to neighbors or to the environment from this proposal?
no, none whatsoever. The actual house on the property to the right is about 230 feet from the nearest point of the project. As Mr. Joseph said, there is a tree row along the property line that is between the home and the barn.
Mr. Banish can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's anything in his report that's really engineering. It hasn't been addressed anyway. And I have nothing further from Mr. Madsen at this time.
In terms of the criteria for the variance, this is not gonna be a hardship, right?
No, it's a C2,
Right.
and I'll address that briefly
Okay.
in closing.
Is
Yes,
the
I'm sorry, I did have one question, and that was maybe for Mr. Zelli and Mr. Madsen. The impervious coverage proposed is 6.12.
6.15.
1.5. Existing is 3.88. And you're electing, what you're trying to get at, Fred, was you're electing to take advantage as an applicant of the amended ordinance, even though you applied prior to the amendment. Is that basically
We
your?
applied and were deemed complete prior to the amendment. My understanding of the time of application rules, it's designed to protect applicants, not punish them. So I believe that
Right, so
we
you're,
qualify under the new number. Either way, we need a variance, but.
right, but to the extent that the new ordinance allows the 5.7, you expressly amend the application to request the 5.7, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you agree that it's 5.7 under the new ordinance?
the ordinance, applicabilities.
No,
legal issue, right?
Yeah, don't think about that. Just-
You wrote the ordinance, you know what it says. I just want to know, do you agree that it would be 5.7 under the calculations?
Yes.
So the difference is between a 0.45% request versus a 1.15.
Correct.
Thanks.
Point. Okay, 0.45, not to be precise, but that's right. The difference is 0.45, right?
Correct.
The difference between 5.7 and 6.15.
Oh, come on, the words.
I gotta write this. I gotta write this and make it sure it works. So. No, right. 0.45, just between
Why the lawyers?
the new ordinance and the proposal.
I did, it's 0.45.
He agrees with me. He's the one lawyer who agrees with me here. So I got it. Thank you very much. And I agree with Mr. Zelli's position that the applicant in the time of application statute is authorized by law and the case law to elect to take advantage of the benefits of the time of application, but not the detriments. Okay. No, well, I like to disagree with Paul once in a while, and to some extent, I think he's technically correct. However, because the way the statute is written, there is authority of an applicant to select the benefits of a change in ordinance, but not the detriments, which is to me strange, but our legislature is strange, and that's what they did. So this applicant benefits by the change.
So we're looking at a
0.45 increase in lot coverage, not impervious.
Yes, Frank.
Just to make a quick observation, the test that they're addressing with regard to the C2 variance means that there be benefits outweighing any detriment from this, and that those benefits relate to the purposes of the municipal land use law and your master plan. Your master plan explicitly encourages equestrian agriculture. During discussions that we've had about equestrian agriculture, there's even been a question of whether this type of a facility should be considered in that category that we call impervious coverage, but really is not impervious. And I will continue to defend the fact that we treat coverage as manipulation of the surface of the land. regardless of whether something drains through it or not. That's the way you've dealt with it for years and years, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. But I am saying that in the case like this, where the use is specifically something that the master plan wants to promote, I think you can find a purpose for granting the requested relief.
And Frank, there's a worse on her seal, so.
I wasn't even going to mention that, Tim, but I noticed that you moved away from Tom and I and over to the seat of power. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means yet.
That's right.
Thank you, Frank.
No.
I have a question. To put in the riding ring, are you changing the grading of that acre of area? Right, does it need to be leveled
It's going to be a cut and fill operation.
by how? Do you have a sense of?
3 to 4 feet at the one end, then at the opposite end, with fill in equal amount.
And does that explain the distinction between the 41,966 square feet of disturbance versus the 25,000 square feet of the ring? You're doing cut and fill, so you're moving stuff around.
Yes.
So just a disturbance of 41,966, which is significantly larger than the size of the ring.
Yes.
So that extra area accounts for the cut and fill you're doing?
Just say yes, Jim.
See, it's there.
Right. G2 helps show what the difference.
G2 shows the contrary that they have to change.
Yeah, you change the fence, the area of the ring, and the area of disturbance, so you see that that's the difference.
Jim, do we have a mobile slope on that cut side?
Yes.
3 to 1 or better? Thank you.
Basically, what you're doing there is you're trying to have an even surface, representative, right, so it's mounded or mounded in the center.
Shedding water.
And was a little hard to tell from the pictures. Is the riding ring going to be visible from the road? Doesn't look like it.
It's very hard to see. I should say the grade rise itself.
As you- Okay.
Anyone else on the board have anything? No? Are you satisfied? Okay, I guess we'll open it up to the public for the engineer. Anybody have any questions?
Or testimony at this
Or
point.
just, yeah, comment.
Again, just for
Online?
Henry online. so no
Online,
one-
no? Okay. All right, we can close it to the public. Any,
So if the board is interested, you could consider a motion to approve the C variance for the proposed increase in the the lot coverage as described this evening and subject to the standard conditions, Paul and Frank's reports, the testimony given tonight, there'll be no lighting, and the approval will be effective this evening so that the applicant is authorized to proceed effective immediately, provided that all other approvals and compliance are obtained. Is there such a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Committee man Hickey.
Aye.
Mr. Walter.
Aye.
Ms. Armano.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mr. DeGiovanni.
Aye.
Mr. Burt.
Aye.
Chairwoman Gotcha.
aye.
Good luck.
Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Good luck. Nice project.
They just gave that. Do you need a comment?
Yeah.
Oh. What they just.
Oh, you're looking.
No, the P came up environmental, they gave it today, the pictures we had, they had sent to us and.
Okay, gentlemen, I think your time to leave. Yes, it was nice to see you. Good night.
Well, maybe you can move over so can.
No favorites.
Yeah.
Elmo.
And I mean, that's-
He's got wheels. I should put.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, yes, it was nice of you to join us.
So celebrate. And you do no power. It's because your birthday. I don't know, I didn't hear. Hopefully tomorrow.
You guys all logged on now?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll continue with our occupation of 1525 Bedminster.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, James Turtletown, TUR, from the law firm, Turtletown Law Firm. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant 1525 Bedminster LLC. To continue our application to convert what is right now in repair garage and Dunkin' Donuts to a Dunkin' Donuts and an office space, which is a gas station on Route 202, 206 in the southbound lanes here in town. When last we were here on July 11th, we presented testimony and gone through some changes with the plan. We're here tonight with James Henry, our engineer, who testified at the last year and is qualified as an expert in civil engineering. We'll go over the changes we have in the plan. We did bring with us tonight our full complement of the team. We do have our traffic expert, we do have our architect, and we do have our planner in case any of the plans come up, but we did go through most of the testimony last time. I do know we have at least one, I think two additional members here tonight. I thought I heard that everybody wrote the transcript, so I think we have a full complement of voting members. And I would like to hopefully present the changes and hopefully you'll find it satisfactory, answer any questions of the application. So without further ado, I'd like to recall Mr. James Henry to go over the changes in the plan and.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, we'll confirm for the record that the members who had missed the last meeting have watched the videotape or listened to the recording and are certified that they are eligible to hear the case. And so, Mr. Henry, you understand you're still under oath.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Good evening.
Hi.
How are you? Right, so I'm just gonna pull up an exhibit. We updated the site plan rendering that we presented at the last meeting to just go over a couple changes. I'll go over those changes relatively quickly, just kind of summarize, we received a lot of feedback from the board last meeting. The board's opinion was they want to vote at that time. They preferred to see the updated plans so that you could see all the changes in front of you and there wasn't any question as far as what you were approving. The changes were relatively minor, but it's always good to be able to see everything, on an exhibit so you can confirm that's what you want. So, so I'm just going to present, I'm going to share my screen on Zoom so that everyone can see the exhibits. And for the record, I believe we'll call the updated rendering A7. I think that's what we're up to.
Okay.
So this is just a site plan rendering prepared by Dynamic Engineering dated August 8th, 2024, which is today's date. And that'll be A10. What was this? A7? Yeah.
A7, yeah. So what sheet of the plans is that of your revised?
It's a site plan sheet, which is sheet 4.
Okay.
With the landscape plan overlaid and colorized.
Okay, so it's a composite.
Yes.
So it's a different exhibit. Okay, thank you. A7.
So just want to summarize the changes we made so the board is all aware. Just I'll go over the whole site plan set, but in particular, the site plan is mostly what changed. We modified the sidewalk going around the building. I believe one of the board's comments was just to replace all the sidewalk all around the entire building. We agreed to do that, so we're showing brand new sidewalk around the outside of the building. There was some discussion about self-serve fueling. We spoke to our client about that. That has been remediated. That's no longer occurring. There was some additional striping requested as far as the right out only driveway. You can see we added a right turn only striping as well as a stop bar, and then extended the stop bar across the whole driveway, which is the southerly driveway on Route 206. We added some directional signage at that driveway, which directs, for Route 206 north to use the Lamington Road driveway. So we added a sign, at that driveway to tell motorists not to make a left-hand turn there, to go to the side street, to use the light to make a left.
Mr. Henry, can you show us exactly where that sign is? And
Sure.
do you have any pictures of what that sign looks like or what it says?
We do, it's in the site plan set. I don't have it here, but if you have the site plan set in front of you. I think we do. Show you. That's on sheet 8 of the site plan set, dated February 29th, 2024, last revised July 22nd, 2024, all in the left-hand side.
Oh, go 6 north.
Sheet 8 on the left-hand side. I can,
It's a revision.
second.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I can't say that.
We're gonna try to project it on the chart. You can see.
And the arrow that you show there, that's on the paving?
Yes, yeah.
And a broad stop line.
So,
We stop line as well, and I believe. Just give me 1 second. This file is fairly large, so just a little slower, so I apologize.
and the sign that you have proposed to go to 206, that's here, where that arrow is? Where the arrow and the stop bar is?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, my fortunately that froze my Adobe. I don't know if we have to share that, it's just a big, really big file, that one, so I'm just gonna not share that one if that's okay. The sign itself, but I'm gonna bring back up the aerial site plan. It's pretty small.
So you only have one posted sign in that, for that custom sign, one location?
One location, correct.
Yeah.
And then we have the do not enter signs, which is, we're also requested at that driveway. So we also have that at that driveway as well. There was a request for a bike rack. So it's
Where's that planned?
no, that's fine. I'll be back. Just.
Yeah.
So you can see there's a stop sign, a do not enter sign, and then also a Route 206 North Lamington Road sign. All 3 signs on separate posts at
Right,
the
right.
stop bar.
Can you identify just with using the cursor arrow, if you can, for the board to see exactly which of the signs are? They're to the right side of the driveways, you're exiting out into 206, is that what you're
Yes.
pointing to?
If you're exiting out on 206 on the right-hand side, there's, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's not hard to see. but-
If I may have you just show us where those different signs are?
Yes, so right now, Jim, the first sign here would be the proposed stop sign, is that correct? Mr. Henry?
The first sign, I'm sorry, I'm zooming in a little bit. First sign is the Lamington Road sign.
Okay,
Then the second sign
And the
is,
Lamington Road sign is the driveway cut on 206 to the south.
right, yes.
Might
So
be
the-
easier to see on the black line document.
Yes, it's, yeah, unfortunately, but you can still see it. So.
Yeah.
Looking at the exhibit A7, the top sign is the Lamington Road sign saying use Route 206 north. Use the Lamington Road driveway. The second sign is just a stop sign, and the third sign is a do not enter. Sign.
Now, to use the 206 north, I appreciate putting the sign, but that's.
Yeah.
Someone that's not from the area is gonna be pulling in there, they're gonna use be like looking around, where's that? Is there any way to just put an arrow, like a right arrow, so they know it's that way?
We could add an arrow on it.
Maybe
Yes,
some kind of directional thing.
Just a little bit more.
yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise, they're gonna be like.
So they might be like, yeah, where's Lamington Road? It's like.
Right.
Yeah, this is 206, so let's go out.
You know,
And
206
the
north.
do not enter sign is on the road cut on 206 to the north.
To the north, there is not a do not enter sign on that one.
There's not, or there is, I'm sorry.
There is not, because I believe that's a two-way, that's a full movement.
So where's the do not enter sign?
To the left of the one-way driveway.
Where's the one-way driveway?
So what, this would be the southern driveway on 206. You would enter into the site here, this would be a two-way drive here on the northern side. On the southern side, you pull out and you can only go right hand, which would be south on 206.
Wait, but the do not enter sign is facing 206?
Basically 206, right? Yes. It's just to emphasize it's a one-way driveway, and then the stop bar also does the same. And if you wanted to, we probably could paint
In a
do not
practical
enter.
matter, that probably doesn't work, right? Because somebody who doesn't know the area is just gonna come down, they're gonna miss the cut, and then they're just gonna pull in, whatever.
So you're putting the do not enter sign on the left-hand side of that as you're facing in?
Yes.
Okay, you might want to think about putting it on the right.
The only reason we're not doing it on the right, I mean, we could do it in a bollard, on a bollard of some sort. We just don't want to put in the DOT right away just because of DOT jurisdiction issues.
It is.
Block the site.
Yeah.
Sight line.
We can put it on a bollard in that striped area right there, though, if you want to.
It's actually physically hard to make that turn,
Yeah.
because it's the double yellow lines and double yellow stripes and it just reinforces the concept of, don't turn here.
Right.
Right.
And sometimes they're making traffic there too. Queuing at the light.
Yeah.
So just moving on, there was a request to add the phase 2 EV chargers. We spoke to our client, they're agreeable to adding 2. And then in the future, adding an additional 4 on the site plan sheet. Which is behind the building. So the green ones are the ones going to be installed initially, and then after that, there's going to be potentially another 7 behind the building near where it says 20.
What sheet are you on?
I'm on the exhibit, which is the site plan sheet indicates is very similar to the site plan exhibit in front of you. Sheet 4.
Right.
Sheet 4.
4.
So you said 2 and then 4 and then 7, I'm
Yeah, so just to explain, if you look at the screen, there's 2 striped spaces to the left of the building
Yeah.
that are in green.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 EV spaces. One of them will be ADA accessible, which is required by code. That's why there's a striped area next to one of them. It's not signed as an ADA, it just needs to be accessible. So we have one striped area for the ADA, and then we have another one that is just for someone who's not ADA. So we have two we're installing when we, as part of phase 1. It's gonna be more of a trial to see if it's successful. And then if that's successful, we want the ability to be able to add an additional 7, just because if it is successful, we want to be able to add the proper infrastructure and everything else, that's required for that.
And where are you placing them? In the back?
Building.
Yeah, so the phase 2 locations are these 7, which are basically 2 in. It's these 7 right here. You see my cursor? Yeah. right in this area behind the building.
Well, they're away from the building. They're not, not they're direct.
They're normal size. You only need one ADA EV space, so
Can anybody use that space?
anyone can use the space, it just needs to be accessible.
So the plan is only to put in the conduits at this time for the.
No, we're gonna install the charger, which I think, because I think the board wanted the actual charger installed as part of phase one. The phase two, we'll install the conduits.
The seven in the back, are
Right.
gonna install the conduits now or in the second?
I'll have to talk to my client about that to get clarification. I'm not sure. I mean, we're not planning on ripping up that pavement back there, so it might not make sense to do it right now. Maybe we do it when we do want to expand that a little further. Because we're not redoing, all that's paved. We're not messing with that parking lot back there. There was some question as far as what was gonna happen with the overall parking area. Our client did take a look at the parking area in general. It's in fairly good shape. Where it does need to be milled and overlaid or replaced with full depth pavement, he's gonna do that. But most of the parking lot is in fairly good shape, so he's just planning on sealing the majority of the parking lot.
You adding notes to the plan for that?
We have a note on the plan, yeah. There was also a comment, I believe, from the board engineer regarding the eco-friendly grates, which are just the inlet grates that go over the drainage inlets to make sure that they're eco-friendly. They say, you know, drains to a stream. We're going to change out the grates that are on the site to say that, so they're compliant with that. There was a comment just to add the hours of operation onto the plans, which we did. Those hours are 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I believe there was a comment from the board regarding the air pump and that it's old and was not properly functioning. So we spoke to our client. They're going to replace that and put in a new one. There was a few comments just regarding the illumination. So we did provide the illumination, a lighting plan to the board. I don't believe there was any comments. And we indicated on the site plan sheet the security lights that are going to remain on. And we only selected a few of them that are going to remain on when the business is closed. There was
Where are they going to be on the building?
there are a couple on the building, and then there's also, I think, one freestanding. If you look on sheet 7, which is the security lighting plan. There's one on the back of the building, which is the west side of the building. Just by the back door, right where we're looking here. There's another over by where the existing bathroom is. Over by where it says 5, there's another building light there today, which we're gonna make a security light. And then we're gonna make a light that's in the island, an existing light in the island over by the air pump. So those are going to be the 3 lights that we're gonna remain on 24/7 just for security purposes.
I'm sorry, I looked down. Is there lights by the electric chargers?
We didn't make that part of the security illumination, no.
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 Are they available after hours?
We could make that a security light. I'm assuming they would remain on.
There.
Yeah.
There's going to be a light on that side of the building.
We could add that as well.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Did you show where the bike racks are?
I did not get to that yet. We added, I believe there's a lot of comments just regarding road bikers that are on Lamington Road. So we did add 6 bike rack. We eliminated one of the loading spaces behind the building on the left-hand side. That area is going to be partially striped, and then it's also going to be just reserved for an EV equipment area if it's required, with bollards around it. So we're removing one of the oversized spaces that could be used for landscape trucks or anything like that.
How many handicap spots are you required to have?
By code, we're required to have 2.
And where are they?
They're to the right of the building in the blue.
Well, that's not near the entrance, right?
They're the closest to the entrance. There's two entrances. There's one to the left and one to the right for the.
Isn't that where the office is?
The office is, yeah, to the right hand
I
side.
mean, if somebody comes to the Dunkin' Donuts, they have to push a wheelchair, they're in a pretty disadvantaged position.
Yeah, I mean, code allows you to put it there. They're supposed to be the closest to, when you have 2 different uses, it can be on either side of the building.
it's not reasonable to think it can be in front, so it has to be on the side, so.
Right.
And the EV spot is accessible, even if it's,
It has a
it's ADA accessible, but not designated.
Right,
It has a
correct.
path of accessibility to the entrance,
Yes, correct.
Okay.
which it looks like it does.
That's one
Yeah,
question.
Just to be clear, Jim, what you're saying is that anybody that needs a handicap space can use the EV handicap space, regardless of the fact that they're not an EV charging user.
Yes,
So that's on the other side of the building.
correct.
So that gives you three. Three real.
So a person with a gas car that needs a handicap parking, can park in it? Basically, it's
So there's gonna be a sign on the EV charging that says for EV vehicles only.
okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're getting at.
Okay.
all right, that's what we're trying to clear up.
Right, okay.
Now, tell them what to do.
Yes.
I'm handicapped, and I pull up, am I gonna see a sign that says don't park in that handicap space?
On the green one?
Yes.
No,
Unless you have an EV vehicle.
unless you have an EV here. The only, it's gonna have.
But nobody's
a
gonna
bollard.
police this, so don't worry about it.
Right. It's not like any-
Because you probably can't get a ticket for that.
Yes.
Carry around the fake charging cord with you, Frank.
Well, it's a big thing to the point, I just wonder.
Yeah, no.
Solve it on the other side.
Which is approximately the same distance anyway.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the doors are.
Then, then there was another comment regarding just the LED illumination. I had to do a lot of research on this to actually just got an answer about 2 hours ago. So I have a letter from Shell that goes over the illumination of their LEDs. And just, it's a little technical. I had to look up some of the terms. So basically, there's 2,000 MCDs in each LED. Okay,
Okay.
so it's gonna get technical, that's why I warned you. So there's 2,000. They only use 1,000 during the day, so it's brighter during the day from an illumination standpoint. At nighttime, it drops down to 15% of the 1,000, so it's really almost like 7% of what it's capable of doing. So it drops down very low. And we're agreeable to adding the dimmer to require it to be, it's gonna be basically 150 MCDs, which is 15% of the 1,000. So it's gonna be 15% of the fully illuminate, the daytime illumination at night, which is gonna be the lower end of the scale. And we're gonna agree to add a dimmer, which will make sure that we are a darker. The non-branded gas stations, a lot of them just jack up the illumination and leave it on. Leave the daytime illumination on 24/7. So I'm sure you have seen, when you're driving around, some gas stations that you're like, whoa, that's bright. So we're agreeable to make it so it's 15% of the illumination of daytime. And we'll make sure that we have a dimmer, and we'll make sure your inspectors confirm that there's a dimmer when we install the LEDs to make sure it's not overly bright. We also provided some examples of the other Shell gas stations for the board to go look at. I'm not sure if you did, but as I'm sure if you went there at night, it's not overly bright. It's definitely, it's visible, but it's not bright.
Does that operate automatically on photo cell, or is that something that just, it does it at a hard time?
You can do it photos. We use photo cell.
If you have a dark day, like a stormy day and it's dark, I mean, it might reduce a little bit with less ambient light.
Right, yeah, so we prefer to use photo cell, so it automatically does it, but that's,
Right.
I have a letter from Shell, the Shell manufacturer that goes over that, if the board would like to see that.
If you could submit that as,
An exhibit?
exhibit.
Please.
Sure.
Do
Just.
we know what an MCD correlates to in
So
some like?
I knew you were gonna ask that question, so.
It's, I like the
I'm ready to go
idea that
deep
it
on
goes to
this. We need to.
15%, but
Sure,
That's
so
a-
MCD is a millicandle, candela.
That's it.
Okay.
So a candela is the brightness of a common candle. And then 1,000th of that is a millicandle, so MCD is a millicandle,
Okay,
okay?
I'm with you so far.
So we're basically gonna be 15% of,
How does that correlate to like a foot candle?
So,
right? Which
great
was
question.
the old-
I looked that up too. I'm happy I did my research here. So a foot candle is 1 lumen per square foot, so it's actually illumination per square foot.
Okay.
Whereas a millicandle doesn't have the square foot element
It's not a down.
attached because it's not based on square footage. So there is a conversion that you can do, but it's basically one. You know, we're going to be about 150 millicandles, so it's almost going to be 15% of a candle.
Can it be put here? 1, 2, 3.
And if you didn't use that, you would use what?
Traffic pattern to figure out.
Then we would use
Again,
illumination from the rear,
backing out.
which is just going to be an illuminated sign. The way,
Yeah.
what we're asking the board to approve is we're gonna remove all the internal illumination from the sign. So right now it's internally illuminated. We're gonna remove the illumination. We're gonna put a downward light on the sign. So it's externally illuminated, which I think looks better than internally illuminated. But in order to do that, we have to add the LEDs in, and it creates a very clean look. And I think we had presented an image, and I can present it now, of the exhibit that we submitted last time, just showing what that would look like. You know, we're basically removing the internal illumination to add the LED.
If you could show that.
Yeah, but
Yes.
my question is, if we didn't grant you a variance for the lighting you're asking for,
Right.
what would we get?
We would maintain the existing illumination, which is internal illumination.
So
And
if
then-
there is this,
And then we'd have to physically, you know, it's a task. Our client struggles with his employees. They have to go out, they have to physically put the numbers up. They get blown off, they're, you know, they when they change, they get lost. It's labor intensive to physically go out there and switch and put the actual numbers up. And then also the illumination is from inside the actual sign.
Do we know, and maybe this is a question for our experts, but what the like, how many candles we're talking about the existing internal illumination is? Internal illumination, sorry,
I like internal.
alliterations. Right, like the dimmers and the LEDs, I think look a little better, but I want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples when we talk about
The actual.
the wattage of the,
What do you think's supposed to be here?
do we know? We don't
I'm
know.
gonna show you both
I don't
the
know,
exhibits
that's
that
why I
we
was
showed
looking.
last time, just so
Open
everyone
space.
can
I can't find what.
Thank you.
note 3
can see the difference.
Thank you.
I don't know what note 3 was. There's the charging station.
What's that?
Where's that? It's going that my sons are here. I don't know. what
So
note
this
3 is.
exhibit
The-
shows a fully
the-
internally illuminated sign, and you can see the entire sign is internally illuminated.
I just can't find what the note is. It's not.
Versus
Oh, there's one handicap.
this one, which is
There's no.
it's got an LED bar light illuminating down. The sign itself is not illuminated. It looks more, you can see a darker illumination on the sign, but then you have the LED price points.
Either have to be parked here.
Now, the price points, are they the same, where you're talking about the height of
Out of the way. the traffic.
You're
Yes.
going from a something down to a little bit, and you're reducing it from 4 to 3.
Yes. Yes, correct.
Compare what's there now, what's the height of the numbers versus what's going to be.
I believe the numbers today, I think are roughly about a foot high, and they're gonna be about a foot high under the proposed conditions. The actual numbers themselves though are 9 inches, the actual LED price points, but the panel is about a foot.
Okay, so is it similar to what's there now?
It's similar to what's there today, yeah.
And then size wise of the sign, I'm just having my eyes start working.
Sure.
The new sign, I see the height is about the same. What's the width? Yeah, I think proposed is that 8 foot?
Yeah, let's pull it up. The sign, dimensions are not changing.
Okay, they're gonna be the same.
They're the same size, so, yeah, so right now, under the existing conditions, there's 4 price points. The shell, it says V power, and then the Dunkin' Donuts, you can see it on sheet 9. And then the new sign is the same exact square footage, approximately 42 square feet, same height. The only difference is we're changing out the actual
panels themselves. And then modifying the illumination.
So this, and then the lights that'll be illuminating down.
Yes,
Are within standard, and will that be?
Here's where the bubble.
I mean, I think we have a certain brightness they can be.
yeah, I mean, they're just an LED bar that you would see in front of any.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not terribly bright. It's just an LED bar that's, fairly standard in the industry. Just an LED bar that goes right across.
Okay, so like the idea, the numbers themselves not being, too
Overly
bright,
bright, yeah.
but it'll kind of, if that LED bar
Yeah.
is like super bright, it's not gonna look.
Yeah, and I think we agree to work with your engineer on that, because really the big thing for us is just so you can see the actual signage. We don't need it overly bright. I mean, I think the LED price points just really makes my client's life a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's unsafe to have employees go out there and change the numbers.
I don't think
across the
so.
driveway.
I don't think it's unsafe.
It's by direction here.
I really don't think it's unsafe to go change some numbers on a sign.
What does that mean?
There's definitely convenience, yes.
So this.
And it's also against our
Light
ordinance,
go off after hours,
What is?
sign,
Yes, the lights will go off
Oh,
when it's.
an hour after closing.
I think
Typically, the LED starts going to say, oh, you want to shut them off?
he'll shut them off.
At closing.
Usually it's like 1 hour after closing it,
So the whole thing will be then shut down?
shut down.
So, Mr. Henry, one of the things that brought this up was that we, further north on 206, in P-PAC, there is one of these exact type of signs, and it is so bright that you can, I mean, it's almost like a mile away as you're coming down 206 from the top of the hill, you can see this
Yeah.
thing. So we want to make sure that we avoid that.
That's the Delta, is that Delta? Yeah. So that's like that's an unbranded gas station, so they're probably
Oh,
doing
they
exactly
have
what
it
I
turned
spoke.
up.
They probably jacked it all up, but we're agreeing to make sure that we comply, and we'll have your inspector confirm that it's 15% and that we're doing the right thing.
And you're also located more in a village business neighborhood, so we just want to make sure. And it does say on your paper that you can go even below 15% if necessary. I think it says 10 to 15%. So
Yeah, 10 to 15. So I actually spoke to the contractor that installs these for our client. He basically said we'll lower it to the lowest dark level that's possible on the dimmer. It still should be illuminated enough so you can see it. We'll lower it to the lowest setting.
If I can change the subject on the traffic, internal circulation,
Yes,
if somebody comes in on Lamington Road, from Lamington Road, is it intended that they can go either side of the building?
yes, there's circulation around the whole building. Two-way
Both ways?
circulation. Yes. I can show you on the site plan on
It's on sheet 8, yeah.
right.
I'm
So on
sorry.
A7, which is the site plan rendering.
Yeah,
there's-
I'm sorry, it's sheet 11.
Sheet 11. Okay, so are you looking at the truck circulation on sheet 11?
It says vehicle circulation, yeah,
Yeah, it's for just a box truck for the. So that's just showing that a box truck could go into the oversized space. Which I think was a comment that we received.
Right, but, so in other words, if somebody comes in from Lamington, they can go, to the east side of the building or the west side of the building.
Yes,
And
and
when someone's coming in from the north, they can go either side of the building as well.
yes,
It's fine. I mean, I think it's all, I'm picayune on my part, but, somewhat impractical, but.
Then there was a few comments regarding the landscaping plan regarding the species. We did submit updated species, and we also agree to address the board engineer's comments on if there's any foreign species, we agree to remove them. And then we also added the circulation plans that were requested on the back few sheets. There's 3 circulation plans on the last 3 sheets of the set, and we provided those to your engineer in advance of this hearing. And I didn't see there was any comments on that based on what we provided. Then the last thing, I think you had requested that our client come to the meeting, and he is here today, so he is here in case you have any questions or comments from him.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you.
Anything more for Mr. Henry?
Yes, Frank.
Just two quick questions. In regards to Jonathan's point about the traffic, I wasn't here at the original one.
Sure.
So just so I understand the traffic flow pattern. So coming off of Lamington, we can come to the east side of the building and approach the gas pumps. How is someone coming off of Lamington supposed to get to the gas pumps themselves without opposing the traffic that's coming in off of 206 there?
The gas pumps, you can really go either direction. I mean, a lot of times it depends on what side you're,
So if they come in, let's say they come in Lamington, now they're facing 206 at the pumps.
Right.
Where are they supposed to go at that point?
they can circulate around. We can add arrows. I don't have any problem adding arrows where they could come around the right-hand side of canopy and then circulate back around. If you want to try and emphasize the one-way circulation, because I understand, I've been.
Well, the couple points with that, where you just say if the point was also to keep them from going on to 206 directly from the pumps, if they're already facing that direction, then.
It's really set up, it's really set up to be,
beforehand.
that's a very good comment, because I think, you know, if there are cars coming from the, I guess, the west side.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times I think there's conflicts because most of the cars come in from 206 to kind of make that right in, and they're facing towards the building. So we could add some striping to kind of clarify that, you know, to make sure the cars are facing towards the building to try and make sure they're stacked up properly. So that's a good comment.
I've used that gas station 1,000 times, and those pumps to the far south are like dead end pumps. If you come in from that Lamington roadside, you pull into that pump, and then you can't get out. You have to back out. It doesn't have an existing flow that's good at all.
Yeah, I used it the 1,000 times he hasn't used it. But I would just say that when you come in from Lamington Road, and I'm not even sure that I'm right, what I'm saying, but I think that you'd be better off, everybody would be better off if you could not go to the west side of the east side of the building, that you'd have to go around to the back. But I don't know.
So you're saying make that one driveway one way and make it go around back?
Because that way you flow into the pumps. And the other thing is that people come and then they park. But people are gonna park right at the front door of Dunkin' Donuts. Because they do that now. And there's no way you're gonna stop that. You can have as many signs as you want. People are gonna stop, get out of the car and run in and get whatever they want. And then it gets to be not narrow, but when you come around, you know, it's just not the safest thing.
Yeah, we can add no parking striping in front. I think the one-way circulation, I don't think that's a great idea, just because there are going to be people who see the main entrance off 206 and want to come through and then park in those 7 spaces to the right of the building.
No, I'm not saying one way. The 206 people can go either way. It's the people from Lamington.
I don't think they're gonna change the direction.
That wouldn't be able to go to the east side of the building.
Meaning of the people, if I understand you right, the people from Lamington coming in, if they come to the east side of the building, they're directly, as the people are leaving the pumps now, if they're potentially going, oh, I've got to go Lamington or to get back 206 North. Now we're constantly having people cross, and they're just fighting to get to the spaces, but they're immediately crossing the people leaving the pumps. And it's just continually happening in front of even possible pedestrians and such.
And if you add
parking area there,
and you
which is
can
a
put as
concern.
much striping there as you want, people are gonna park there.
Yeah, so.
I can discuss that with our traffic engineer.
Right,
Circle
so
back.
to summarize it, in the morning, when people are running in and out of the Dunkin' Donuts and parking in the front, plus the cars going in both directions and the pumps, it's pandemonium in front of that building.
Right.
Just so that we've been there and we see it, and it's dangerous. And that's one of the reasons I requested the sidewalks last week, because I want to keep people off the pavement and put them, at least direct them onto a sidewalk. So anything that you can come up with that would improve that flow, I think Steve.
We're talking about this movement.
Yeah, that area
right
there.
Suppose we don't allow, suppose this was a one-way flow, where you just couldn't come in.
That's what Steve's trying
That's
to.
what I said, but that's not what
It's not.
Mr. Henry said.
I can discuss with our client about that, and then I'll circle back.
So anybody coming in Lamington would come.
The only thing is that a lot of people that are not from this area are gonna want to enter in that main door, and it's gonna create a problem.
Well, no, it's no problem, because with Lamington, people who are not, well, not everybody, but 90% of the people who come in from Lamington are local.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get, let me talk it over with our
But also,
client.
like, 206, anyone coming 206 north, and they'll
Even
be
if
forced
you
to
have
Lamington, they're gonna have to come
signage that,
around,
you
if I
know,
agree, they should just go
talks
around the
with
building,
an
or else they're not gonna line up with the pumps
entrance
right, they're
to
gonna come in
the
opposing.
building.
Well, people from
Looking
Lamington
around.
come in on 206,
So that
go
they
either way.
can pop that up too.
We have one.
Yeah, I mean, see.
See, it is dangerous. Well, definitely, it's like, yeah, we don't. But I've seen, everything, I've seen everything. I don't know how to fix it other than signage and do it. I think, oh, you gotta put it like this, right? That's all right.
What do you think, Tim? You're over there.
I'm never there, I don't go there a lot, I don't see there, I don't know if there's a problem there now. You can put arrows on the pavement, but you know, people are still gonna do what they're gonna do, so.
Yeah, but at least.
It's a wider drive aisle and the driveway to the east of the building is a wider drive aisle with parking only on one side. And so
Yeah, which is,
you can't stop people from being crazy.
well, people,
Right,
if it's,
so-
what I would say, if it said do not enter. Right, when you're coming from Lamington, if it's just the right side said do not enter. But
Go
then why
behind
not?
the building you're talking.
Yes,
Go
go
behind
right
the
back.
building.
Then park in the parking spot
Around
and
that
come
way.
and walk in the front. It's just a crazy situation in there in the morning.
It is, no question.
Is what it is there.
Hey, I'm a card carrying shell customer, so.
People are also gonna be approaching.
You guys paid us good money.
Yeah.
Gas
Yeah.
tank. You know, mine, I'm one of the lucky ones that has the gas tank, right? So.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
So I was just talking to our traffic engineer and our client, the concern is because, and you're not able to see this, you're gonna see a little bit of the green. So the concern is, right now, this has been operating like this forever. He understands that there's been issues, but once this is renovated, the problem is that all the activity is going in this door. And now the main entry for the Dunkin' is shifted to the left. So the probability of cars, the activity almost was forced to be on this side. And by the doors being shifted to the left-hand side, a lot more activity is gonna be on the left-hand side of the site, which is gonna separate the two uses, which is gonna be better for traffic circulation. So the other thing is, he's done this and he sees a lot of people do it because obviously he operates the gas station. Like, this maneuver is not very easy, and then it also conflicts with people making a
I'm
right.
sorry, which maneuver?
The maneuver where you come down from the back, and if you were to come on the right-hand side of the canopy, and then try to make a U, coming this way. He said the problem is that if cars do this, it creates a conflict with people making rights in.
Yeah, you can't do that. You have to, you enter the canopy from the other side.
Right, but the canopy's canted, so now you're making people make.
So if you're coming in
more
this
than
way, you
one
can't
turn.
enter in because of the angle of
The angle of.
the pumps.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
So that's the only reason he doesn't want to do it, is because he thinks it's gonna create an unsafe condition with cars doing this. And then people make a right hand turn in, and it's operated safely for a number of years. By moving the Dunkin' Donuts over, we think that that's gonna be a significant improvement to move a lot of the activity to the left-hand side of the building versus.
Well, it would move people away from the pumps,
Yeah.
the walkers, the
Right.
pedestrians.
Yeah,
And the sidewalk help.
and then he was agreeable to adding, if we wanna add, paint the curb yellow or add signage, he's agreeable to adding whatever is required.
People won't listen, but you have to, at least, as a board, we have to make sure we do our part, protect pedestrians.
Yes, agreed.
Make it safe as possible. Anything more from Mr. Henry? What?
I disagree with mine. It can't come in around the side. That's a little.
Where is the bicycle rack again?
Sure, so the bicycle rack is on the top, on A7. It's in the striped area
Yeah.
by the trash enclosure.
Oh, okay.
So we provided, kind of an oversight, it's since they're entering in Lamington Road, we thought it'd be a good idea to provide it near Lamington Road. And then, so it's in that white striped area right here. And there's some additional space in case there's a need for additional bikes or, electric bikes or anything like that.
It's also out of the way, so.
Yeah, it's in the, not the area probably least used on the site, which is, I think is good.
So coming up,
Employees might be there.
get to.
Can you zoom out a little bit so we can see the corner?
Which corner are you?
The
looking
lambing,
for?
yeah, like
Lamington?
that. So is the shrubbery, is that shrubbery like a whole line of shrubs?
Yeah, it's kind of staggered, trying to create as much buffer as possible. Right now, there's not very much landscaping in that area. And the real idea of it is just trying to block headlights from going out on 206, to improve safety of the area.
I'm just wondering about people walking to the Dunkin' Donuts from across the street now, because you have AT&T, and now you're gonna have the new Pet Fresh building, and you're gonna have another new building, the Weichert property. So you're gonna have potentially a lot of foot traffic back and forth crossing the road here. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that can be done to help the pedestrians know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sidewalks, I don't think, in the area, so I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we should be like, in this particular intersection, like promoting the walkability.
Don't talk to Frank about that.
Or Larry.
We want walkers. We want to promote
Yeah,
walkability, okay? We want that.
Do you know if there's a crosswalk there?
Yes.
there is a crosswalk.
There
I
is a
believe.
crosswalk.
Yeah. I could show the,
Button for the light too.
Goes to nowhere. Crosswalk
On
to
the
nowhere.
other side.
The bridge used to go to your facility.
That's the other side.
I think there's only a crosswalk on one side. It's not two crosswalks.
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
There's only a crosswalk on the south side.
It's on sheet.
To the library.
Not on the north.
Yeah, to the library.
Cross the-
yeah, well, I'm
Right,
exactly.
it is.
the new building.
So you
It's have to
see,
cross from the south side and cross that way.
Well, it's by the
Yeah,
library.
that's the one I'm
We
aware
have to
of.
talk to
That one,
them.
yeah, but there isn't one here.
There. By the
Go
library,
here and then.
on that side.
and
Yeah,
then cross
but
even.
there's no, it's not like you can cross, there's only one crosswalk. across
That's
those
usually
six.
property.
Right,
Nobody-
Right, so you go,
Southern
yeah.
part of the intersection.
On the
northern
on the
part,
library side.
And
Right, you
There's
can cross
crosswalk.
over to where the library side is and then
There's
cross
walk right
over,
there.
but there's no sidewalk or anything, obviously,
Have to-
it's DOT
Right.
property on that.
no matter
corner.
what you do, if you come from a new property, you have to do two crosswalks.
It's a crosswalk to nowhere.
you'd always have to do two crosswalks.
Exactly.
Because they're catty corner, so.
Yeah,
There's a
so
crosswalk.
that might be,
Right, goes through the library property.
DOT might have to get involved with that at some point.
Library has
Yeah,
a lot.
that's their property.
Three letters they want here.
DOT. No, not they, it's not.
There's nothing
It's out
that
of our control.
there's nothing you guys can do
Nothing
about
we
it.
can do about it, exactly.
Yep.
You think that if we said we wanted a sidewalk from where the landing of the crosswalk is over to the north, that DOT would say, sorry, that's all right, we can't do it there?
I think we'd have to go to DOT for approval of that.
I'm sure you would.
I'm not sure what their response would be. I would.
Change the access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Frank, is that something that we as township can request DOT to look at? Or the Somerset County,
You would want an aspect of this application to be the installation of that, and that would put them in a position where they have to go to DOT to get that approved.
Oh.
You could support it, but it's there, beyond that.
but it's not on their property at all.
No, it's
No.
not. They would have to come across DOT.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Okay.
Okay, are you finished,
We
Mr.?
have nothing further from Mr. Henry. I don't know if the
Okay.
public might have some questions in addition, whatever board questions they might have.
Yeah, and the board have anything more for Mr. Henry? No, satisfied? Okay, then we can open it up. Guess there's nobody online.
No, just Mr. Henry's computer and
That's it. Okay, so we close it to the public? And we have another witness or?
No, we.
You're finished.
We're finished. We do have our other witnesses here to think if anything unanswered, that the board might still have any questions, but otherwise we do have finished our witnesses.
Okay, would you like to summarize?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'd like us to meet the owner of the property.
Sure.
Can you introduce us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If I may call Mr. Wasim Chowdhury, Chaudhary, who is the principal of 1525 Bedminster LLC.
Aye. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
And please state your name and address.
Wasim, Waseem Chowdhury, 11 Dean Street, Madison, New Jersey, 07940.
Thank you, Mr. Chadri.
Mr. Chowdhury, you are principal of 1525 Bedminster LLC,
Yes, I am.
and you recall when you purchased this property, or 5025 Bedminster LLC, you purchased this property.
I believe in around 2011, but I've been operating the site way before that.
You beat me to my next question. So about how long have you been familiar with this site?
I'm saying probably 97,
1997.
yeah.
And this is a plan that you, with the type of use that we're proposing here tonight, is this a use you're familiar with?
Yes.
And what is the reason why you're proposing this use? What do you think it does with respect to the gas business and what's there today?
Well, we have a small tiny Dunkin' there. They need to upgrade and, it's not enough space. And now we have a vacant 8-bay garage and it's not being used. So it's perfect opportunity to, expand the Dunkin' and take over the 8-bay garage and then, use the other area just for my office, office purpose for paperwork and that kind of stuff.
And you have other gas stations that you're a principal of, the ownership of, that have similar type of Dunkin' Donut uses with gas stations?
I own and operate north of 65 locations that I own. And then probably another 65, 75 that I supply. And I have many with the Dunkin' Donut or convenience stores, but especially this use, yes, Dunkin' Donut, yes.
And based upon your operation of these sites, you feel that this will work in the way that's been proposed?
Absolutely, yes.
And to the board, I just want to give you a little bit of background on Mr. Chowdhury and his extensive knowledge in this area, but if the board would have any questions for him, I certainly welcome any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
I
Go ahead, Lynn.
Mr. Chowdhury, I want to thank you for being amenable to all of the back and forth and making some of the changes that we asked for. Sure. We see Bedminster is not really a question, but we see Bedminster as our own community, and we need to make sure that our people are safe, that everything works well. And I just want to thank you for, we put together a long list of changes, and Mr. Henry made those changes, and I think I appreciate that at least.
Oh, we all do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I do, like I said, I live in Madison and I have many stations throughout the state. And I work with, with the communities. I really, part of every community, where every town that we're operating the stations. And I'm glad that, we were able to accommodate almost everything that, respected board members had asked. And I will make sure, my promise is that, after the renovation, we will make sure that I know the landscaping and I know and Jim said already, but if we need to for paving, if I see that place need the whole, property, then we'll do that. I want to make sure the place is neat, clean, beautiful, and, well invited to, all the customers and the residents of the Bedminster. Thank you.
You're welcome. We thank you again, and this is an unusual site. It's a difficult site.
Yep.
Especially with the internal parking and driveways and stuff. So it's very difficult. But we appreciate your business in town, and we're trying to accommodate you as much as we can, and vice versa. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now that you have met Mr. Chowdhury and you've had us before this board, you will certainly have my phone number and all of the applications. Last meeting, we were here, there was some issues that were raised with respect to the signage that was being placed in the DOT right away. We corrected that issue. I believe it's all gone now, I think on the next morning. But now that you know Mr. Chowdhury, you've seen us here, if there are issues that do operate, that do happen, to the lending investor, please come to us.
Absolutely.
And he's very responsive to the needs of the community, and we'll work with you to correct whatever problems you may see in developments and such.
I hope so. What's good for him is good for us. Vice versa.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right,
So I have no further questions. I don't know if the public has any questions for Mr. Chowdhury. but I
we
think
will
there-
certainly open it up. We will certainly open it up to the public. I don't see anybody.
Thank you.
Nobody's online, but,
No.
So.
so we'll close it to the public.
Thank you. So you asked me for a summation. Today we have a station that is, a nice building, but it's gonna get up. You have a very prominent location. You have the use now, you have an empty repair garage, and you have a small Dunkin' Donuts. A small Dunkin' Donuts haven't done very well. And through the course of this, not only this hearing, but the prior hearing we had, there's also been a need for a community center, community place that sit down and have a cup of coffee with each other. And we believe this application fits a lot of the needs of the community. Building's gonna be upgraded. There's some of it, it's gonna look a little bit more lively. It's gonna look a little bit more in line with the town, from the image that this town would like to project. The station itself will get an facelift with landscaping, which we think overall will be a lot of good for this community. We do have an extra space there, with a shell office there as well. That'll be now cleaner and nicer area. We believe we've come forward with the collaboration with your experts, with the board of comments here, with an application we think will be appropriate use for a very prominent location here in Bedminster. And hopefully one you'll be proud to have as you drive by it every day and hopefully get a cup of coffee and buy some gas. But it's one that we do feel will fit in with your needs, and certainly much better than the site that's there today. So with all of that, the time that this board has spent, the experts have been really kind, as well as Mr. Leon, in helping coordinate all this. We thank everybody. We ask that this board look favorably on this application. We do thank you.
Could you just summarize the variances you're requesting?
So, yes, Jim. We're gonna go back through here. We have to go back to the list, we had a variance list here, and I'm not sure after we change some of this, whether we have an updated variance list. Okay. I'm referring to the your planning report, the Boswell report dated July 10th, 2024. Mr. Ferrero listed out on page. Starting at page 2, a fairly substantial number, but if you want to read through them, I can certainly do that. That would be, we're looking right now for relief from section 13.406.1 on use variance. Where we're going to be expanding the existing Dunkin' Donuts. We'll be eliminating the repair shop, and we'll be expanding the Dunkin' Donuts with gas station. We're going to be asking for relief from 13-406.4 with minimum lot area, because we have only 1.29 acres, where the minimum in this zone is 15 acres. We're going to be asking for relief from 13-406.4 on the lot width, which is 400 feet required, and we only have 243.5. Again, this is a regularly, the small lot for the zone. The zone was not designed for office research, and we're a gas station, a small retail gas station, which is another reason why it fits in well, and it's warranted of the variance. On lot depth, the same thing, 13.406.4. On lot, minimum lot depth is 400 feet, we're 178.4. The minimum front yard setback is 100 feet, we're going to be at 49.3 feet. The minimum side yard setback is 100 feet, will be at 61.9 feet. By the way, if you read the notice on this, extremely long notice, because we got everything we're asking.
These are all just for the record, and everyone's to follow along, they're looking at.
Yeah.
All the reporting from July 10th.
Yes, it's July 10th, beginning on page 2, yes.
And most of what we're talking about now is existing conditions, right? We're not-
Almost all of it.
Almost.
We're, and it's a good point to be made, is that we're really only, the building itself is staying the same, we're adding some curbing now around the building, which is gonna be a change. We're adding landscaping, we're gonna change some of the lighting on the sign, which we went through in detail. But beyond that, some of the striping in the parking lot, the EV stations.
Expansion of non-conforming use. The expansion.
Expansion of non-conforming use, but physically on the property, we're not really changing that much.
Right.
The big thing is that right now, the 300-foot Dunkin', I think it's 300 square foot Dunkin' Donuts is now gonna become, I think, 1,400 square feet of Dunkin' Donuts. So you're gonna have a much bigger Dunkin' Donuts, but instead of going in, getting your coffee and leaving, you're gonna have a sitting area and you're gonna have a place to be able to accommodate as well as you take coffee and leave. So, in terms of what's existing and what's proposed, it's pretty much the same site, except it's gonna be, split up with new siding. It's gonna, have new signage on it, but beyond that, it's gonna be the same site with just a much bigger Dunkin' Donuts. So.
So could you just talk about the variance you're requesting for the lighting on the sign?
So we request the lighting for the sign, and we can talk about this. We're asking for digital lighting for the numbers, the price points, so that that would enable the driver to see it better.
No, I know all that, but so you're asking a variance from what part of our code?
And that's why I was going through the list, and I go back to the list.
Right, so let's just continue the list now.
That's fine, I'm happy to do that, it's fine. We have a minimum distance between the principal buildings, which is 50 feet. The principal building here would be the canopy and the building itself that we have now, currently we have the repair garage and gas station. Again, this is another existing one, which is currently the ordinance requires 50 foot, we have 23 feet. The minimum accessory building distance to the sideline is 75 feet, and we're at 45.4, which is again another existing. I thank you for making that point about existing. I was not making that clear. Under 13-406.4, the distance between accessory buildings, again, we just repeated that, which is 50 and 23 feet. 50 required, 23 provided with existing. Lot coverage permitted is 35%, and the existing, and it's not going to change, is 74.58%. Parking setback. No parking is going to be permitted under your ordinance, is permitted in the front yard or 50 feet from any adjacent lot line. Right now, we have 6-foot parking setback from sideline, which is existing and it's going to stay the same. In terms of parking and driveway setbacks, no parking or driveways, no parking or driveways permitted within 15 feet of any lot line. And in this case, we are 6 feet from a parking setback, which again exists. No parking is permitted within the required building setbacks, and we have parking within the front and side yard setbacks. It's the existing conditions, again, is going to continue. Loading spaces, minimum loading spaces should be 15 feet by 40 feet, whereas 9 feet by 30.6. That's an existing condition which will continue after this application. Minimum driveway width 24 feet. We're going to be 23.7 driveways, which is an existing condition which is going to continue. Permitted trash enclosures are permitted in the rear yard only, and we have a trash enclosure in the side yard, which is existing and proposed. I believe we're doing some more screening of trash. Yeah. So we're actually going to make it a better area, even though we're continuing an existing variant condition. We're going to be improving it with the enclosures we're going to put in them. Landscaping buffers are required between off-street parking space areas and lot lines. We don't have a landscaping buffer in certain areas, which is an existing condition, which is going to continue. Landscaping buffer is required between loading areas and a public street. There is no landscaping buffer that exists today for that, and will not be in the future under the proposed conditions. Minimum off-street parking. In landscaping, one parking space shall be one parking space per every 30 spaces shall be landscaped. We're not compliant today, and we're not changing that situation. We're not going to be adding any parking within landscaping within the parking spaces. We have a maximum number of signs. We have one freestanding or building sign, and we're proposing one freestanding sign and 2 building signs, which we don't have right now. So that will be a variance, and that's the relief we're asking for in this condition in this application. The maximum sign area is 5% of the area of the front wall of the building. Our combined freestanding and building sign area is 78.05 square feet, which is gonna again be a variance. That's gonna be, it already exceeds it today, but we're asking for a little bit more. Minimum site,
Just clarify, we're reducing that from 89.3 to 70.
oh, I'm sorry, we're reducing it from 89 point
3 to 70.
89.
The new variance.
78, my apologies. So it's a new, it's a change in the variance, we're reducing the non-compliance. We're also asking for a variance from the minimum sign setback. It's right now 30 feet, the monument sign right now that's out there is 6.7 feet, that's gonna stay the same. Commercial signs must be identical in material, shape, lettering style. It's not, we're not going to be complying with that. There's different use that we have here, so that would be a variance. And the sign illumination, no sign with red, green, blue, or amber. Illumination shall be erected at this location. We've asked for the digital sign, which would have those colorful color combinations, so we are asking for a variance. Well, although if we're going to go with white tone,
No.
no, it's good. Let's keep the color combination. Okay. So, those are really the variances that we're asking for here tonight. So it's good. I'm sure we have missed anything. Along with the waivers and other relief we've asked for, I believe that should do us. I believe that would.
Thank you for going through that. I appreciate that.
I appreciate for completeness and to make sure that we have a complete resolution and we touch everything. I respect it, reflect it, and thank you. But again, overall, it's the same thing that's been there for years. Mr. Chowdhury said it's been there since 1997. I believe it's been there for decades before that. But what this is going to do is it's going to pick it up. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If the board is ready, you could consider a motion to approve the.
I have a question, Tom. Is there a way to make the motion without granting them the variance relief for this sign that's against our ordinance?
You could break it into two or more variance motions.
I'm not comfortable with the sign. I mean, I don't know how the other people feel, but.
Well, one idea is to poll the board, do a polling of whether, on the sign first, perhaps to see, do 5 of you of the 7 who are eligible. Brian, you're not technically eligible, though you can deliberate about this and you can participate in full about it, except the vote. Which is very significant that you can participate. Good, so you could, if that's the one variance that you're having some issues about, you could perhaps do just a polling, or would the 5 of the 7 who are eligible grant or not grant that sign, digital sign variance?
I have a question. Your objection is the lighting or the sign itself? Or what?
Well, I'm not an expert by any means. I think that our ordinance is a good ordinance. And I think it's in place for a reason. And I don't see the need to shoot down our ordinance just because they want to put in a nice new sign there.
No, which ordinance? Sign.
We do have an ordinance that prohibits internally illuminated signs. And that effectively prohibits digital sign with changing prices. But we don't allow gas stations at all in the town. We have at least two pre-existing non-conforming ones. And so that's.
We know about the brightness on the one up the road.
Right.
I mean, they can say whatever they want. For me, I have a problem with it. I don't think it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't think you should cave for that. I don't think it's gonna, you're on the corner, they're still gonna see the sign. I just don't see the need to usurp our ordinance in this case, but that's just me.
Well, I would just say, I don't, I mean, I have no idea, but I would assume it's not a destination, but a gas station. It's a gas station people go to because it's convenient. It's not a place that people go out of their way. Or people use an unknown location. Everybody who uses it most probably knows it's there before they get there. So that would mitigate towards what you're saying, the sign doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's true, right? It's right off 287. Right, if you're coming south on 287, that's the gas station you get to first.
The state highway.
Right, it's on the state highway, and quite frankly, our job is to grant exceptions to our zoning ordinances. It's like, it's why we're here.
I just, you know.
Right, I mean, whether we think this application meets whatever criteria we each have is a different question, but to just say that we have an ordinance and we should stick with it, then.
Can I make an observation?
Because
Well, I was going to.
our relationship can handle it, but the thing I think is important here is when technology brings along things that weren't contemplated at the time an ordinance was written, and we knew what internally illuminated meant in the old days when we said we don't do that, but the unique utility of this kind of a sign, well managed, again, nothing like what's happening over in up the hill on Route 206, but properly managed, it's a very effective way for this use to utilize that technology. And I don't see how that really, I respect your desire to stick with ordinances that make sense. We adopted them for a reason. I do think under these kind of circumstances, you can look at this as the benefit of changing technology that really does warrant consideration. I'm not going to change your mind, but I think when the board thinks about this, if they're looking for any reason to say yes, they'd probably be looking in that direction.
And just to add on to what Brent said, you're already gonna do some reduction in brightness, which is, we appreciate it, and you've also offered the engineer to come out and take a look at that. And then the sign is going, so the sign is pretty much the nighttime is what we're worried about. And the sign will be off at closing, perhaps.
An hour after, 1 after closing.
1 hour after closing,
Yeah.
so it's not even gonna be on at the night time.
And in terms of making those conditions, those things we've agreed to in the record, in the resolution, in case there's something that changes, you know, you can come out to the site, you can make the phone call and you can enforce the condition to make sure that we abide by it, which my client will abide by. But that being said, if there's any concern that there's going to be any change to look like what's going on up the road, you will have it in your resolution, to be able to enforce it against my client to make sure it happens, although it's not going to be an issue.
Our client just whispered in my ear, he'll shut it off at closing, so he doesn't need that extra.
Okay, even better. Okay,
That's
thank you.
even better. That's good.
Yeah, that is better.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So it's like, you know, when you turn it off, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't blink. On the time when we change the price up or down, you know, the number, it will go off and then the number will change. But other than that, it's a solid, just like this light will stay there. And at night 10 o'clock, when we turn it off, and it's done.
Thank you for that, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of piggyback on what Frank was saying, because the technology has changed, and I personally think the signs look neater, more tidier than the ones that you change the numbers and stuff. I think they look quite nice. As long as it's, you know, dimmed down and turned off at the end.
I mean,
I have no problem.
that's my main concern is the brightness.
And the delta that you guys, all respective board members see out the road, that sign, probably, you can get that sign for $3,000. This sign is about $30,000, and it only manufactured by a food shell manufacturers. They come from there, come one, and that's why you have those dimmer on, go up and down in brightness. Sign up a road, just stick in this one line. Between unbranded and branded.
And it has, I read the paper has a photo cell,
Yes.
so it also goes on and off. And like,
Right, so you don't have to adjust it for different times of the year.
Yeah.
Like, at your time, probably dim it down earlier, you know?
Now, I have one
Um,
thing towards your Tom.
I just have a suggestion. It sounds like there's more than 5 people who would approve the use variance with the digital sign, with the condition, very important about observation by the township engineer of the intensity of that light and all the lighting and adjustments as determined by Paul Ferrero. But we could do a vote on just that sign. Sounds like it's going to pass, but or we could, perhaps I could draft the draft resolution with the condition about the inspection and observation of the intensity of all lighting, including that digital sign. And all the other conditions, or I have a number. They've dealt with a lot of the things by putting them on the plan, so
Yeah.
that's makes things a little simpler than some cases. The other thing I just wanted to tell you about is that when it comes to a D variance like this, when you're amending pre-existing non-conforming use, in this case, the gas station and the service station, the repair of vehicles is one of the pre-existing non-conforming uses. As we all know, may have predated zoning. I'm not sure, but definitely is a pre-existing non-conforming use because you found that, or your board found that on at least 2 occasions, and changes were made to upgrade it or to improve it. Now one is being eliminated and replaced by increasing the size of an existing approved use variance for Dunkin' Donuts. That is consistent with the case law about called Burbridge versus Mine Hill, in which a D variance was granted to upgrade a classic pre-existing non-conforming use, a junkyard. And this is not a junkyard. Hopefully it will never be a junkyard. But the concept of a D variance being granted to improve something or to better it is sound and is supported by the Supreme Court affirmance of Judge Stanton in that Burbridge case. So I think you've dealt with this property in other times because of the need to, let's call it, upgrade pre-existing non-conforming uses, because they tend not to go away, right? They tend not to be abandoned. They tend not to be eliminated. And it's, sometimes necessary to look at them and know that this is not allowed in the zone. It hasn't been allowed in the zone since the buffer zone was created, but it does exist and it may need betterment. So maybe, George, if this makes sense, I try to make a motion, do the motion, put all the conditions, including the condition about the intensity of the digital lighting. One thing I wanted you all to realize is that, and I didn't fully realize, is they're actually removing internal illumination of some of the signage and replacing it with external illumination of the shell sign and of the price board by just having internal illumination of the pricing and having a downlit lighting of the freestanding sign. So that, in a way, is an improvement toward one of our ordinances. It doesn't deal with the ordinance about no yellow or red or green signage, but it does deal with, it reduces the size of the internal illumination. If that helps you at all.
42 square feet, it's gonna go down to 10% of the sign. So right now we have a sign that's fully illuminated internally. When we're done, we'll have an externally illuminated sign, like I say, about 10% of that will still be internally because we'll have those LEDs.
Right, but I'm not saying you must grant this. I'm just saying that these are things to consider in your decision making. So, so I'll maybe craft a draft and you think about whether it works for the 5 people. So it's a motion to approve the the D and C variances and site plan exceptions as requested. Okay.
I don't have an exception with the sign. I just made a comment. I don't have an exception to that part of the application.
Did you have any further comments, Steve?
No.
No, okay. And I think we're going to do something about, what I know you have one concern about, so. um, So it's the motion to approve the C and D variances and site plan exceptions and amended preliminary and final site plan of 1525 Bedminster LLC, subject to the standard conditions and subject to the testimony and representations in the record in this hearing. Be subject to Paul and Frank's reports. They'll be subject to condition that the LED lighting in general and all lighting in general and the lighting, LED lighting of the price board and on the freestanding sign for the gas prices and kerosene or diesel price shall be subject to the review and approval of the township engineer as to intensity and appearance. Any dispute with the township engineer would return to the board for final determination. There'll be no, as offered by the applicant and is understood by the board, there'll be no retail sales in the Shell station office space, and it'll be solely used for the Shell office and Shell storage. The only sales that will take place will be sales at the gas pumps and for customary and subordinate things that are related to gas station use, such as wipers, windshield washer fluid, and automotive fluids. They will this will be subject to Somerset County Planning Board approval. They will remove all cloth signs from the property. And the revisions offered by the applicant in prior meetings and in tonight's meetings will be included into the approved and signed plans. This
And the sign will be turned off at closing.
And the signs then will be turned off at closing, and the only lights that will remain on will be the security lights that are approved by Paul for Township engineer. And one of them was additional one to be possibly, I think, on the building for servicing the EV chargers that are near that space. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
And roll call, please.
Mr. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Urbana?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Bugliese?
Aye.
Mr. DeGiovanni?
Aye.
Mr. First?
Aye.
Chairwoman Gotcha.
Aye.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. If I may thank this has been several applications, several times. Mr. Collins as well has been a terrific person to work with in this and again, your staff and everybody else. And we do wish to thank you very much for all of your time in this. And again, hopefully you'll be very happy with the product at the end. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations on the next project.
Thank you.
Mhm.
No, that's gonna be part of
We
the
have to keep that as.
application.
That's an exhibit.
All right. And Janine,
That's
do you
my
want-
eighth.
Our time is it?
Yes, please.
Next on the agenda. By the way, the other sign is still in. That other floor sign is. Yeah, go look at it. Nothing personal.
Put in your card.
There were two.
Oh, well, I'm not even, I'm not rushing on it, but I believe you. So I didn't know that this is gonna be meeting, sorry, the taking out.
All right.
I've already, my number goes to Chadwick now.
We know where Mr. Chowdy lives now.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the board have anything they want to discuss or bring up? Nope. Okay, so then we just
Schedules.
yes, please scheduling. Yes, let's do schedule first.
Good news, as of right now, there's not one single thing that we have not.
We did 3 things.
We've done all our work, Jean.
You guys all get gold stars. Every one of these applications we've gone through
Oh,
at this point. So that's 11 to date.
so I'll see you in September. See you in the fall.
I'm sure that it's not the end. I'm sure there'll be others that come in, but at this very moment, we do not have any
Okay,
Not that, that haven't been seen or read, no, there just are none. So
Okay.
at this point, I'd have to say September is looking like we're off, but I will keep you posted.
yep. All right, thanks, Janine. You do a great job as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like that.
Okay. All right, do I hear
Motion to adjourn?
a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Who said that first?
And thank you.
All right, we're good.
All right, thank you.
I thought it was a comment here. This was a mess.
Hold on.
He fixed the mess for you. We went back